Hey YouTube, hey bold and the beautiful fans. Will Thomas take a sinister turn? Is Thomas going to revert back to manipulative behavior like we've seen in the past? Is bad boy Thomas back? So let's talk about the idea and about Thomas and if there's some shockers in store when it comes to Thomas and what he might do next. Of course, Thomas is back, and it's exciting to see Matthew Atkinson back as Thomas. And today we got some insight into why Thomas is back in LA. So today we saw Thomas implore Ridge to not break Taylor's heart again. Thomas became emotional today and told his father that he needs his family back together. "You can't break Mom's heart again," said Thomas. And Thomas also said he's back because he wants to make sure that Brooke doesn't interfere and seduce Ridge back to her. But Thomas might be too late. Ridge, of course, rescued Brooke from the boat accident in Italy, and Ridge told Brooke he'd never take her for granted again and that he'd fix the situation, but so far Ridge hasn't. Brooke has been trying to persuade Ridge that he needs to end the engagement with Taylor, but Ridge is taking his time with that. And now Thomas is urging Ridge to keep his commitment to Taylor. Thomas knows about Ridge's rescue of Brooke, and Thomas even showed Ridge the article about it. So Ridge's rescue of Brooke in Italy made the news. But what Thomas and Taylor don't know is what Ridge said to Brooke in Italy after he rescued her, that he wouldn't take her for granted again and that they'd fix this together. Ridge and Taylor's engagement, though, could already be doomed. And spoilers say Taylor insists that she and Ridge set their wedding date quickly, so we'll see how Ridge handles that. Brooke is optimistic that Ridge will come through for her, though. Brooke said our love story won't end, but Brooke also knows with Thomas back that this is going to complicate the situation and that it could become problematic. Of course, we know that Thomas is going to do everything he can to make sure that his parents get married. And Thomas has always wanted his mother and father to be together, to reunite, and we also know the lengths that Thomas has gone to in the past to make that happen. And today we saw Taylor and Lee discussing Thomas too, and Taylor said she'd hate for Thomas to ever have a setback, but if he does, she'll be there for him. And Lee said, "I hope nothing happens that will trigger those issues for Thomas again." But maybe those issues are already coming back for Thomas. Soon, Thomas is going to give Brooke a stern warning not to come between his parents' engagement, so we'll see how Brooke handles that. And speaking of engagements, we found out today that Thomas and Paris broke off their engagement. Thomas said Paris really hurt him, so what's this all about? Apparently what Dr. Grace Buckingham did to Liam, faking Liam's terminal illness, is what broke Thomas and Paris up. So it's unfortunate that that happened, but it looks like they are not going to be getting married. Thomas also told Ridge that he feels lost. He has no relationship. He has no one to design for, and that he always ends up alone. Thomas says that's why he needs this so bad, why he needs his parents to get married, his family back together. But if Thomas doesn't get what he wants, what happens then? Will Thomas revert back to his manipulative ways? Or is he already there? Will Thomas try to do something underhanded to make sure his parents get married? Will Thomas do something to Brooke? Will Thomas do something shocking to make sure his parents make it down the aisle? We know what Thomas did when he faked Brooke's voice using that voice recorder, making it look like Brooke called Child Protective Services. That led to Ridge feeling betrayed by Brooke, and the truth, of course, came out on Ridge and Taylor's wedding day. Brooke never betrayed Ridge, and it was Thomas who manipulated the whole thing. So is Thomas going to do something like that again? Something shocking, going to extremes, to great lengths, once again to make sure Brooke can't interfere. And then maybe the truth comes out again on the day of the wedding. And wouldn't that be interesting if Thomas does something again and all the truth comes out on the day of the wedding? But if so, what would Thomas do this time? Thomas seems like he's hurting, so could this set him over the edge? Will he try to manipulate Brooke again, or worse, maybe hold Brooke captive? Of course, I'm just guessing with that, but we've seen a lot of stories like that in daytime recently. Or could Thomas team up with Luna and try something? Probably not, but you never know what direction stories could go in. But Thomas could be back on a path of destruction if he feels his parents aren't going to reunite. And of course, he blames Brooke. Will Thomas do something to make sure Brooke can't interfere in this engagement? Now, I'm just speculating on all of this, so we'll see how all this starts to unfold. But we know Thomas is in a vulnerable and desperate place right now, and we've seen Thomas do bad things in the past, and it seems like he feels he has nothing to lose. So we'll see what Thomas does next. So stay tuned. We'll keep the updates coming. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Watch The Bold and the Beautiful, CBS Daytime and Paramount Plus, and I'll see you in the next video.